Announcements on Adwa TV. Contact Adwa TV for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 05092577754, 02094949258, or visit our marketing desk at Step Work Promises. Adwa TV, bringing good things to life.
Welcome back to Adwa TV, and the program still remains Family Life, your family our priority. My name is Naa Oforiwaa Pels, and we are here to discuss a very important topic today. Without much ado, I have a very handsome man here. He is an evangelist with 20 years experience. He's a family man, and he is a textiles designer too. Without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Evangelist Patrick Tego. Papa, welcome to Family Life. And how was your week?
Grace is keeping us.
We thank God. Papa, please, our topic for discussion for today is understanding the value of togetherness in marriage. My first question is, what is marriage in general?
All right. Permit me also to say good morning to our cherished viewers.
Okay,
and we
sir.
thank God for His grace and His mercy that has bestowed upon us. Family Life is a very powerful program. I
Thank
don't
you.
joke with family life.
Thank you.
This is where issues within the families are resolved through wisdom and by direction of the Holy Spirit as well. And so we are grateful to be here once again.
We thank God.
Talking about marriage, I keep saying most of the time in my submission that marriage is not meant for boys and girls, number one. Marriage is an institution created by God Himself. It takes two matured people with the knowledge and then the information about love before they can switch into marriage. And this is where a man has to leave his family and then come and then cleave to the woman. And then they stay together the rest of their life, not some part of their life. And so once you enter into this thing, you are sure your bet, your everything is on it. It is for life. Only death can separate the two. So it takes two mature people with understandable mind just coming together to enjoy the rest of their life together. Very simple.
Now, you know, there are some people who are younger, but they are matured up there. And there are those who are older, but they still behave as kids.
Perfectly.
So what do you mean by two matured people? And then if I may ask, what is the right age? Is there a right age for marriage for both male and female?
So you could see I was using the word maturity and then not age. Just like you rightly said, there are people, when you come to age-wise, they are okay. The age has advanced, but the ideas and then the intelligence and then the sense of maturity is not there. And so you will find out that they will get into marriage. They are 30 years, 40 years plus and still have no experience, having no direction within the marriage that they are within. And there are younger ones who come. So maturity is about growing and then trying to learn and then educate yourself in areas you have no idea about. So once you read, once you listen to information like Family Life, then you are being updated in your mind and then in your way of living. So this goes hand in hand with anybody at all. It is not about age. talking about the rightful age, I've received this question several years in my ministry, and I keep telling people I might not have a specific age for marriage. Reason being that, like we earlier said, there are people who are very young but very matured, and they are very sensitive and very sensible in the way they handle issues in marriage and even other activities of their life. And so, once you know you are sound in your mind, and you are okay with certain things in life that will help you to get yourself into this thing called marriage, I have no problem with it.
So someone can get married at the age of 20 years and still behave maturely.
Perfectly. We have people who are married 40 years and still behaving like class 1 children.
Okay. Okay. And before we start, we delve deeply into the topic itself. For how long must one date his or her partner before they end up in marriage?
Auntie, now a very powerful question. And this is where I think most of our challenges and problems are coming from. When we talk about dating or courtship, these are areas where we make time to study one another. It is not marriage, it's not cohabitation. We are only there to study one another through the means of our friendship to see whether this thing is going to get connected. And I keep saying, you can take 20 years to study somebody and you will still not get all the information you are looking for.
No, some people do pretend. They want to be all perfect before you, but when you get into marriage, it's
so that is exactly what I am explaining. You can spend 20 years citing one another and still not get all the information. All we are saying is the foundation of everything should be centered on Christ. He is the one that initiated this thing called marriage and love. So once you are able to get into this thing, then get the opinion of the one who initiated the whole thing. Once you get there, you may have some glimpses and studies about the people, because sometimes when we are courting and we are dating, we take off our eyes from the most reasonable things and then we focus on things that are not necessary. So we are in courtship and all we do is think about parties, having fanfare, going for beach parties, going for funerals, going for this place and coming there. We have not made quality time to sit and to study one another. Look at the things you like, the things you don't like, and then begin to correct one another at that particular stage. That is where I keep telling people that courtship and dating is hard mathematics. You can't joke with it. When you joke with your courtship or your dating life, remember you are going to enter into a marriage you will never like. And so nobody should take it like it's a cheap thing. It's based on my feelings and my emotions. Then I zoom in. There is work for you to do. You need to take time, talk to people that are mature, talk to people that have been in this business for years, read books, get information, and then you will be updated. Above all these things, prayer should also be your guide. Once you include prayer, I believe it takes the Holy Spirit as well to guide and to lead you into this thing called marriage. So we should be mindful of some of these things.
Okay, so earlier you mentioned Christ. Do you think before getting deeper into a relationship, the two partners have to pick a pen and a paper and write their likes and dislikes, and then they switch for them to study who and what my partner does not like about himself. So I will try as much as possible not to do that. Let's say my partner says, I don't take in alcohol, and I do take in alcohol occasionally. Do I have to be that frank? Because marriage, they said, is the only institution that you get your certificate before you even start the course. Yes. So my question is, should it be done? Do you advise the upcoming ones to do that exchange of likes and dislikes on a sheet of paper, probably to post it on their walls, to meditate on it day and night? Okay, so Evangelist doesn't like this. I would try not to do that to provoke him. Or once in a while, you do it for you to know how he will react to it. Yes.
Yeah, a very powerful question. And I love that. It's very important and we can't do without it. We should share our opinions on our dislike and then our likes, and then we just put it over there. But everything up on the paper that we have written over there should boil down to communication. We just don't write it. We also discuss it. So you share your experiences. I also bring my own on board. And I also caution the young ones who are courting and then they are dating. This is the period for them to enter into what I call the premarital counseling. You can't do this thing by yourself. Don't allow your emotions and your feelings to deceive you. Because once I miss somebody I love and we meet on Saturday morning like this, sometimes the discussion is based on emotions and then feelings, not with wisdom. And so once we have a premarital counseling section, of which many are running within the system, I believe that will be the guide and then the foundation that you will lay for your future marriage. But once you do these things by yourself, you are omitting certain things, you are lacking certain things based on your own experiences, and you are immature in these things. So you need a guide. And that is why I caution them, for those who are singles and they are courting and they are dating, they should register for a premarital counseling section, which I believe is going to be very something that will help them out.
Okay, so if you are out there and you are dating someone, please kindly register for premarital counseling. It will be a help to both of us because we are tired of the divorce. This is Family Life here on Adwa TV. Be reminded that we are streaming live on Facebook and that of TikTok. Your views and comments are highly welcome. I'll go for a quick commercial break. I'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Announcements on Adwa TV. Contact Adwa TV for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at Step Work Premises. Adwa TV, bringing good things to life.
Welcome back for that quick breather. My second guest just joined us. He is a family man, a man of God. And before he became a man of God, he was a man. He also happens to be my crush. Without much ado, I would like to welcome Reverend Felix Parker Baining. Rev.
Thank you for having me.
Mohe. Okay.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure having you on Family Life, and I know my viewers are also happy to see you.
it's an honor.
Thank you. Please pick a pen and a paper so that you'll be able to write the little information that we are giving you. Take this as your premarital counseling. Ale Evangelist me Male.
Sure.
Reverend, no fine. Our topic is the value of togetherness in marriages today. And before you came, Evangelist has explained marriage, what it really means, for matured minds with no age specific. Because there are some people who are younger, but they are matured in all aspects. And these people are also married. There are some churches that even advocate that from 20 years you can settle down. That is, if you are financially secured. There are some other churches too that when you guys start dating and you are 6 months old, you can start your premarital counseling. Rev, please, what is the value or what are the values of togetherness in marriages?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me and greetings to your viewers. These are two questions, value and togetherness. So let's first of all deal with togetherness. We'll go to Genesis chapter 2:24, all right, where God says that for this cause shall a man leave his parents or mother and father and then join, and then the two become one. So there are three components here. 1, leave. 2, join. 3, together. All right. Now, the values of togetherness. First of all, what is togetherness? Togetherness is when two people decide to share, and I use the word share emphatically, to share spiritual needs, social needs, physical needs, plan together. Once they decide to share, they share their time, they share their properties, they share their values. When they come together or when they decide to share, then we can talk about togetherness. Now, this togetherness also, the value then becomes intentional, purposeful. Nobody wakes up and decide to get close to anyone.
Really?
There's no automatic thing. I mean, even God, when God was creating the world, God purposefully decided. So in Genesis chapter 1, we hear the Bible says that the world was without form and void. And the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the surface of the deep. Now that statement is voluminous. In other words, there was no shape, darkness, and God took time to do what we call visibility study. Sent for the Holy Spirit to brood. All right? So that was purposeful. That was intentional. God decided to also create us. So our togetherness, we can come out from one parent, but we have to be deliberate to be together, to share a common view, to share a common idea, to share a common, ideology. And if we do that, in that deliberateness, then we are together.
Please, what does togetherness contribute to the long lasting of marriage? Anyone can answer that. What does togetherness contribute to the long lasting of marriage? Growing up, we hear or I heard that when a man is ready or is at the age of marriage, it is the parent who scouts for the lady. You can go to this house. There's no madness there. There's no leprosy. They investigate about the diseases and other things pertaining that family. And then they will tell you, in this house you can marry, but in this family you can't, because when you go to a certain point, you automatically run mad. And I know and have witnessed some before. Please, those people have lasting marriages than our current Jay-Z generations. Yes, because you were not dating, but they have lasted longer than those of us going forward to the person to say, I am interested in you. Some will even tell you, the Holy Spirit says you are my wife. Yes. What is that spirit of togetherness for a lasting marriage? What contributes to that?
The key components are understanding, knowledge, let me say information, like you rightly said. So there's an investigative processes where parents want to find out what ideology forms or formulates this family. What are their values? What are their principles? What are their targets or goal in life? All right. What are some of the common diseases that probably might have plagued them? Okay. So that information. Then number two, when the two of them decide to come together, information of, the Bible says that men should dwell with women according to knowledge. All right. So I get to know of your framework. Okay. What defines your person? What defines your environment? Okay. And then I choose to belong to. Okay. And when I do this, I am buying myself into yourself, and then getting you to also buy yourself into myself, beginning of togetherness. When we settle on one idea, all right, when we settle on one thing to do, we are getting together. When emotions are not celebrated, okay, but ideas are celebrated, because one can be extremely emotional, and your emotion can cause you to move off, all right? But when we decide that, okay, this person has a peculiar case, we can talk about temperament, we can talk about a person's emotional needs, and I decide that, okay, I am here to complement, or she's here to complement. That is the key knowledge that is working for the understanding. If we get that principle at work, then the values begin to show forth.
But Papa, two negative rods cannot match together. One have to be positive and the other have to be negative before they can all ply the roots. Don't you think that if we are all being so perfect, things will not go like it should?
Of course, that is why God, in his infinite wisdom, sometimes we don't even know how it happens, but our temperament always go with the opposite direction. So you see a melancholy, all right, going for phlegmatic, and then you see a phleg, let me say a sanguine going for choleric, all right. If we go for choleric and melancholy, they'll fight. And naturally, people that are sanguine, outgoing, always want people that are quiet. And that's how God works the thing. So that difference works for us.
So that one is an individual character.
It's an inbuilt, inborn something.
Okay.
That attracts. So like the science term goes, like terms repel. Unlike terms attract. All right. So that grace is there. It brings about, apart from the physique that attracts, the innate temperament also has a way of attracting in the opposite direction. But if you're not careful, because some people have more than one temperament, we have the primary and secondary temperaments. Sometimes you may dwell on your secondary temperament,
Which is?
So a person could be a phlegmatic, 80% phlegmatic, or let me say 60% phlegmatic, and then 10% melancholy, 10% sanguine. But they tend to dwell on the sanguine more. They want to be more sociable. Meanwhile, they are not.
They are not.
Then they tend to go and marry a person who is also
Like them.
phlegmatic. And that one, the guy will say, Egmu Egba. All right? He won't go far. So when you want to learn, first of all, learn about who you are and get to know who you are, to get to know what you would have to go for, and then where to compromise. You see, one of the values of togetherness is compromise, and it's a deliberate thing, okay? Because some people, you don't choose your sex, neither do you choose your temperament. So when I get close to you, I have to deliberately decide that, okay, this is who this person is, and this is how I have to accept him or her. This is how I have to live with the person. And that is the beginning of togetherness.
Okay. Evangelist, can you please add something to it?
Yeah, let me pick it from where you start. You said in the days of old, people were searching for wives and husbands for their children. I pick a scripture in the Bible which says, when God created Adam, then he brought Eve to the system. Within the Garden of Eden, there was a mess up. So when God came on board, instead of Adam accepting responsibility, he started shifting blame. He said, the woman you gave me. And I believe that was what informed God, that this time around, I'm not going to make any choices for any man again. So I said before you, this day, life and death, choose one. But I prefer you choose life. So our generation cannot be compared to the days of old. In the days of old, too much discipline, too much order. They have their weaknesses and their strength. But in our generation, where we say things have advanced and we are moving ahead of life, nobody wants anybody to make a choice for them. And sometimes, like I said earlier in my submission, we depend too much on our emotions. We depend too much on our feelings in making choices in life. And this is the reason why sometimes you will see two people who are married, but they are not together. They have stayed for 15 years, for 20 years, but they are still not together. So sometimes you should allow the wisdom and the knowledge to be a guide, early preparation, getting good guidance in life who will help you in making a better choice in life. And this, I believe, will help you to come closer to your partner.
So there can be couples who are married but they are still not together, and there are some too, you see them publicly sharing, hugging, cuddling. You see some even hooking their hands. Is it a public showcase? Because you may go into their houses and that unity is not there. Yes. Ashante meke Sokoto mponu fiare ho. Agbanale, they are making it they are painting a very beautiful marriage picture. But inward, maybe the man hates her or the woman is overpowering the man in the house. Do you think it is our finances? Is it due to our finances? Because there are some women who hold up higher positions at work and even at church. Are they supposed to be superior because of the finance income they bring to the table every month, or they still have to be submissive to their husband as the head of the family? Rev?
Okay, let me start with the first one. The togetherness, like I shared earlier on, they have to decide to share. When one decides that this is mine, I bought this, I did this, then I, me, myself, and I, is the beginning of disintegration. But when the idea of this is ours, here we are going there, they are for us, we are sharing one thing, we share one religion, we share one idea, we share one spiritual needs. When I get something, I know that I am bringing it home. When he or she gets something, he or she knows they're bringing it home. When this concept of sharing is missing, there is nothing like togetherness. We will have coexisting, we will have putting up appearances, we will have pretense. And when the people in question are possibly public figures, that is where pretense becomes the more. Now, when we decide to be together and then we put up, it means there is something we're not doing well. We go out, we want all people outside to know that we are good. Meanwhile, we're not good. Whom are we deceiving?
Ourselves.
A man of God said something to me, and over the years I've written it. In fact, I've pinned it on my Facebook wall. He says, when you deceive a person, when you think you're deceiving someone, the first person you deceive on earth is yourself.
Oh, okay.
When you tell a lie, the first person you deceive is yourself. So putting up appearances is a deception, first of all, to yourself before to another person. And sooner or later, it will bounce back to yourself.
It will bounce back to yourself. So our next question, what are some of the practical ways couples can establish the attitude of togetherness in marriages? What are?
There are so many ways. Let me pick something from what Red just said and the earlier question you just pull up. You know, the gun says something, and this is exactly what is happening within our generation, our system right now.
You mean the Jay-Z in the new generation?
So sometimes in public, me personally, when I see couples holding their hands and you can sit back and observe, even the pretense, you can tell that this is fake.
Really?
Oh, I'm telling you.
How?
If you are very observant, you can tell.
Okay.
You know, I am not happy. You are forcing me to be happy by force. I will hold you, but my facial expression and the way I walk and the way I even smile, all these signals can be a point that these people are trying to pretend. And then I'm beginning to ask a question. Why would two couples stay together and then begin to act? If you want to be actors, then join the Ghanaian movie or the Nigerian movie and be the best you can, rather than playing and joking with this beautiful thing called marriage. You can't. But the reason is, I go back to the foundation. Just like the Bible says, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? When you don't have it right from the beginning, how then can you build upon the future within the marriage? And so you see people courting and dating, like I said earlier in my submission. No guidance, no direction. They have nothing coaching them. And so all they do is emotions and feelings. And this is what they base their marriage upon. But as soon as they enter into the marriage, then the reality dawns on them. And now the question is, I am in. I don't like it. I am not comfortable with it. What do I do? And none of them is ever willing to go back for even a counseling section for a change. But rather, they will try to fake it and pretend to be with the whole thing. And then they will stay there the rest of their life, which to me is a disaster for them. So care should be taken about these areas as well. Okay. You posted a question.
Yes. I was asking, what are the practical ways of for couples to establish togetherness, the attitude of togetherness in their
marriages? Let me strike on some few points. Number one, practical ways of couples being together in everything. Number one, communication.
Okay.
We should be conscious of it. We just can't pretend. Our house cannot be a missing link. We can't be writing notes and then be sending information to people whilst we are still there. So the two people should make it a conscious effort that communication should be the hallmark. We should talk about issues. We should discuss about issues. If something is wrong, something is not right, let's sit, let's discuss. We are not fighting. We are not debating. We are bringing our views out to see the best that is going to help for the two families to move on. The next point I talk about is honesty. If we want this thing to stay together with us, then we need to be honest with one another. We can't fake it. We can't pretend it, like we explained earlier. So honesty also should be the hallmark. And then one of the major problems that I think is also causing most of the challenges in our marriages is our sex life. Especially when it comes to Christians. We find it very difficult to discuss issues about sex. And this to me also play a major role within the marriage that we are in. Because sex itself is a bond. And once we have sex with the correct mind, I am talking about the correct mind, not coming to excite yourself and then go away, not thinking about the other party. Because after any sexual intimacy, the two people should be fulfilled. Not only one person should be excited, and then the other person will be there in the morning. And so we should deliberately discuss about some of these issues. This is where we will begin to understand one another. This is where we will begin to appreciate one another based on the discussion that we hold. So sex also should be discussed. Talk about it. Stop pretending around it. I am spiritual, too holy, too righteous to talk about this thing. Why then do you have to marry?
It makes some of us to run away from men like you being an evangelist, Papa being a reverend. If he approaches me, I may think like, man cannot no coffee, I won't marry you. You understand? And there are some couples that when they are home, they hardly talk to each other. You get the man talking to the wife when it's that time in bed. And I don't think it is something that has anything to, or do you think it is something bad? Like you talked about communications. There are some couples who don't. When the man is going out, he puts the money on the table. There are some who even write the food they would like to eat when they come back from work. What is the cause of that? Because I don't see any unity in that aspect of marriage.
That is exactly what I am stressing upon from the very foundation. When I am courting you and then we are discussing issues, I discover some weaknesses within you and then I'll push it aside and then I'll be encouraging myself, oh, one day when we marry, this thing will be okay. I am building a monster for myself, and that is exactly what I'm going to enjoy one day in my house. So when I say we are courting and we are dating, it is not an area of joke. That is where we express ourselves. That is where we find solutions to some of these issues. So let's talk about it. If we have no knowledge, no information, no ideas, then we consult from those who are well experienced. We read books, we get information, we listen to programs like Family Life, and then we are informed about some of these things which help us to grow within. But when we hasten the foundation of the relationship, that is the end result that will come to us. But once we start as friends, so beautiful, we communicate, we chat, we express ourselves and everything. Once we zoom this thing into marriage, automatically we have laid a foundation and we are going to stand upon that very foundation to continue the rest of the journey. So we should be mindful that we can't joke, especially where I'm stressing upon when we are courting and we are dating. You are building a foundation and you cannot joke with it. That is where you need seriousness and serious commitment in some of these areas, and then you get there. So everything ought to be discussed. You made mention of men of God. I know a lot of them are starving wives, all in the name of spirituality, and women are starving sexually,
and they can't
it's
talk
affecting
about
their
it.
brain. All because they didn't start it well. If they have started it well, they can call their partner. I have an issue. I have a burden. I have a pain in my heart. Can we talk about it?
Reverend, you see, you want to talk about it, but our parents and our friends will say, oh, and when you guys get married, he will change, she will change. And then you keep holding on. You see, most of us hold on to our relationship because we don't want people to call us, you can't keep a man to yourself, or you can't keep a lady to yourself. You're jumping from one bed to the other, and sort of. So you try to maintain your dignity. You understand? Papa, please. You know, sometimes people get married because there was pregnancy. Especially if you are coming from a strict Christian background. Because your dad doesn't want his reputation to be a mockery in the public sight. Or your mom holds a position in church. Excuse me. Once you are pregnant or you've pregnated someone, by force you have to marry the person you've impregnated or the one who impregnated you. But deep down, maybe the guy was just there for a one-time something. Do you think it's also a contributing factor to those parting ways, like there are no forms of communication or peace in their homes? Do you think it's a contributing factor to it?
It's a big contributing factor because pregnancy is not, and I repeat, is not a binding factor for marriage. And sometimes when parents decide that because of my position, because I'm a minister, then it becomes a selfish interest that my children are going to marry to save me. So they will think that I'm a good man, I'm able to raise my kids in that way. But that is not. when you don't commit two mistakes to want to correct a wrong. All right. The fact that the child is pregnant does not mean the child wants to marry that person. So even at that point, there should be a serious counseling to get to know what is on the mind of this young lady and that of the young man, to know whether they would want to be together. All right. And then if you force them, the marriage has started on a wrong note.
Okay.
They married not for themselves, they married for the one who is forcing them. All right. And that in itself can be a court case. If the child decide, or if anything happened, that child can go to the police station, report that I was forced into this marriage, and you, the person.
My Reverend, you see, we were brought up in obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. They are our parents. The decisions they make for us is final. You can't contradict it. Now that you are saying that a child can go to court, hey, Charlie, do you know the number of people that will be calling you in their homes? Your mom says you've sued them, your dad says this, your dad said that. And then how will one know? Because I didn't know that I can go to court if I'm being forced into a marriage I'm not interested in. I didn't know. This is my first time of hearing it.
When a child is 18 years, they decide on their own. You guide them, you facilitate as a parent. And last week, we talked about the fact that marriage is between family and the state. All right? But to a large extent, is the people involved and the state. You understand? So, if you are forcing a child to get into marriage, and the child is not happy with it, they can decide to go to a police station, which can result in court matters. All right. So what you need to do is just to advise them. Of course, the scripture says, obey your parents in the Lord. So for some of us, our world is the authority of our parents, and we will obey that much, even to a fault. Okay. And we will even encourage every member of the Christendom to do same. But not forgetting that sometimes when parents are talking, it is not always in the interest of the child, but it's in the interest of the parents, which raise eyebrow. So we need to find out if it is not in the interest of the child, then we have to have a second look at it. But if it's the interest of the child, then the child must obey the parents.
Okay. Evangelist, please, what's your submission to what?
Let me stress on some of the points he has raised. And I think this is also becoming a major problem within our society, where pregnancy has become the order of the day leading to marriage. And it's destroying a lot of young girls and young guys. Sometimes we meet them in discussions and you can tell. Even when the fights and the arguments begins to fall out, and then you hear the young man is like, I wasn't prepared.
I wasn't prepared. They pinned me down. You pinned me down with the pregnancy.
And so that bitterness and that pain is there. And that's the same way such a man would treat the daughter of yours that you claim you love. So it was a mistake, maybe like we said earlier, for the pregnancy to occur. And just like Rev said, the two parties should be on board. Young man, are you willing? Are you ready to stay with this beautiful young girl? If they are having challenges out of counseling upon counseling, then just let go. Maybe his assignment and his duty is to take responsibility for the seed he has placed over there. But maybe putting the marriage together, that is where we have the problem.
But so, you see, abortion too is a crime.
That is exactly what I'm saying. So you maintain the pregnancy, but you will be responsible for the child over there because you were the one that planted the seed over there. We should make some of these things straightforward, because once we begin to fight them in this dimension, this is the reason why most of them secretly goes for this kind of abortion things behind us. And there are many young girls who have committed abortions even without the knowledge of their so-called spiritual parents and what have you, because the way they were handling them was not even right in the first place. Secondly, I keep saying that marriage and then sex should be cross-checked very well. Because these young girls and boys that are in town right now, you know, entertainment has become the order of the day for them. And so if we don't guide them from the initial stage to let them know how they are supposed to run their life, then we have just exposed them to have fun with their life.
Okay.
And they can do so and bring the challenges and then the difficulties back to you again as a parent. And we should also have it at the back of our mind that our daughters and our sons will be the next generation to take over from us.
Okay.
And so whatever we give to them today is about the future. And we should be mindful about some of these areas. If not, we are creating a monster for the future to run with.
Okay.
So young guys over there should take their time. The young girls also should take their time, study each other, make sure you're compatible, go to God in prayer, seek for direction, allow your guy to be under the influence of your Holy Spirit. And I believe when some of these things are done, then you can have your way, move through it, and then get the perfect thing that you want in life. But no pregnancy should lead one person into marriage by force. Oh yeah, I'm serious about it.
But you know, some of the pregnancies are deliberate, especially to us, the women. Maybe desperation makes us to go into that. Or depending on how your relationship with your mom or your parents are or is, it's like Reverend is coming from a wealthy, influential family sort of, and your mom or your dad wants you to get married, go into that family so that they can get it. You know
the problem I have over there, I am getting married because I want some kind of fulfillment, joy, peace, and then sound mind. But if my marriage is centered on somebody else's happiness, indirectly I have become a slave. So I am living in that pain for you to get your excitement and your progress.
Okay.
And so we should also look at the excitement and then the joy part of the one who is getting into the marriage. Nobody should be forced, but rather they should be encouraged and teach the right way for them to go through it. But if you compel me to do things against my wishes, and today many people are in marriages and they are struggling, not because it was them that they prepared themselves for, but because choices were made for them. They were being compared just like you were saying, but I am getting into it for me to be excited. I am getting into it for me to be fulfilled. So if somebody pushes me beyond the limits for them to get their excitement out of my own marriage, more or less like the slave trade system.
Okay.
Yeah, and this thing should not be so.
But Reverend, you know, sometimes we think our parents are worrying us at home, so we want to escape from their stress and then we want to marry. But you're escaping from another slave trade to another slave trade. Do you think it is the right thing for us, the upcoming youth, to be in a haste? Because now as a woman, your friends and other, so like the society in general, is expecting you to get married from 24, 25 till 35 years. If you are there or you've bypassed that place and you are still not married, they're like, don't you want to get married? You don't want a man to control you. A whole lot of things are being said. She call Hoe. After you've gone some meters away from there, that is when they will backbite you. Do you think it's also a contributing factor that some of us or some of the ladies out there has gotten into a marriage that they are not enjoying? Because, like, I'm saying this because I have friends or I know people who are matured. They don't have kids. They are not married. And you will see the expression on their faces when they see couples going around. It's their own personal choice. Not that they don't want to get married, but it hasn't come.
Yeah. First of all, it's attitudinal problem, all right, for some people to behave the way they do. And could we say upbringing? Could we say environmental factors? Could we say peer pressure? The mind of the child growing is somewhat dependent on what is available and what is around the child, and what kind of information that is given to the child, what kind of socialization he engages him or herself in. All right. So growing up, the things, the philosophy that comes to you to help you grow and become who you are, to a large extent, affects your attitude and your character. So when a person decided, okay, I want to get married, but the men are not coming, and so let me decide that Akwesi is there. If he's not getting to marry me, let me entice him so I get pregnant, blah, 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 blah. That is also an attitude, not something. All right. You can't force a person to do otherwise. What is on his or her mind plays on whatever he does. When parents decide to talk on your back, you can also not hold it back. Okay? We have to understand that no two people think alike. Okay? So parents want you to do something against your will, or you want to do something of your own master choice. They will still talk, whether good or bad. Still, people will talk. But the best thing is, whatever they are saying, sit down and think. What lesson can I draw out of it? What is going to help me? Because every community have their custom. What is the custom? And what are the practices of this custom? Number two, how have my forebears lived their life? So we always have to draw some values out of these things to help us. After the talking, they will talk, whether you like it or yes. Even the people we so call that are very good and don't say anything, if they didn't say to another person, they'll say it in their mind. And you can't stop it. But what will you do for people to later on come to appreciate what you stand for? That is more important.
That is more important. I'm going back for a quick commercial break, and when I come back, the program still continues, and this is Family Life. I'll be right back. Please stay tuned.
Announcements on Adwa TV. Contact Adwa TV for your general announcements, proclamations and publications, job vacancies, etc. at a very affordable rate. Call 050-92-57754, 020-9494-258, or visit our marketing desk at the work premises. Adwa TV, bringing good things to life.
Welcome back. The show is still Family Life, and my name is Naa Oforiwaa Pels. The topic for discussion for today is the value of togetherness in marriages. The value of togetherness in marriages. And I have some of your questions here on Facebook. I'll ask for you, don't worry. Rev, please, someone wants to know that there are some couples living in separate rooms. Does that mean they are not together? And if so, what is the cause or what is the case of how will they establish that unity among them once they are sleeping in different rooms?
Okay, so first of all, we need to understand that, like I said earlier on, that no two people think alike nor perceive alike. Even as I'm talking to you right now, the reason why you keep asking questions is because when I'm talking, you want to establish to know what I'm thinking. All right? So you keep asking questions so that then the conversation keep going on for you to get on the same level with me. So people don't think alike. People don't perceive alike. And so I said earlier on, we need to be deliberate. Like the people say, I said, "Oh, shut down now we tassel." A lot of guys will say, "Esake ojegbe." All right, you need to be deliberate and intentional about togetherness. That's where compromises come in. So when two people are living together, all right, but they sleep in separate rooms, it simply means that there is no intentional about the togetherness. Yes. It's like chemistry covalent bonding, all right, artificial collision. And they decided to live together, and they are unable to manage. The key word is manage their differences.
So in this case, how would they mate?
Oh, this is what happens when one needs help. All right, they want to bait the other. Oh, take this. Oh, come this. Then they use that one to have sex, and when they finish,
you go back to your separate
and that's
rooms.
very dangerous. All right. You see, even children that are given birth to, you may decide to go and have sex unknown to you. Pregnancy comes, but even that one, the fact that you decided to have sex is an intention. It's a potential intention to have a baby. When people are living together, they have to plan their togetherness. But if they are in the same room and the same house in separate rooms, it means their togetherness is not planned. All right? They choose to live their life to chance. And that is very serious. And sometimes one should decide, why your dress? They are dirty. Let me help you wash it. Or let me wash it for you. Oh, the food is ready. Oh, I'm not hungry. Okay, just taste one muzzle or just one spoon. If you don't become purposeful, and when we constantly become purposeful, then it becomes a routine. Then you don't need effort for it to be done. But if you don't put in the effort initially, there is also resistance. The resistance is because we don't think alike. When I'm coming, I think, hey, this guy is doing this because of, or perhaps there's something about to happen. So you're always perceiving wrongly. But when I keep doing it, and you see that the result that is coming is not because of what you are thinking, then you open up. Then the togetherness begins. There is always the resistance to togetherness. And it's because of our wrong perception, our background, our knowledge, and possibly how we're raised. All right? And sometimes fear. Fear is also one factor that keeps us at bay. But as I put in the effort and constantly I do it, try to defy your wrong perception, then later on it becomes easy. We break that surface tension, and then it becomes like a norm.
Do you think it is the influence of our parents or our friends? Because sometimes, if a man is so strict on his wife and his kids, and all of a sudden he's trying to change his character, he becomes romantic all of a sudden. He starts giving you a helping hand in the kitchen, a lot of things. Because there are some families that the man cooks his food and then the woman will also cook and eat with her kids. But all of a sudden the man will say, hey, give me some of your food. Or today I want to eat your food. Definitely you will feel scared. You will definitely feel scared. What's up? Is he going to ask me of something? Have I done anything wrong? Is he cheating on me? I have some few comments here from our viewers. And one said, Benny Chris says, a very deep message, Papa Parker. And then Rebecca Lante, deep questions, dear. I really love how your guest is calmly replying the questions one by one. So keep your views and your comments coming on Adwa TV GH on Facebook. And we are streaming live on YouTube. So if you don't have your TV closer to you, please go on your phone, buy some data, and watch us live on YouTube, Adwa TV GH. My next question, please. It says, can you spell out the specific way the couples can not do? Like, can you spell out, he says, can you spell out any specific ways that couples do not marry out of love, or their willingness creates an atmosphere that togetherness in their marriage life? I don't understand this question, but please.
I think I got the first one.
He said, can you please spell out any specific ways that couples did not marry out of love?
Sure.
Or their own willingness create an atmosphere of togetherness in their marriage life?
Sure, that's two questions. So the first one, say, sometimes people marry by sight, by material things, by prestige, by beauty. All right, and so they go in for that one, and that thing fades, and that factor becomes the factor of disintegration. Okay. So maybe I see a nice woman, and perhaps my mother has plenty hair, even in her 80th, 87th, 86th year, she still wear plenty hair. So growing up, I love ladies with
long hair.
So, and I don't like this
artificial one like my own.
No. I don't like them.
Oh, okay.
And till date, my wife never wears that thing.
Oh, okay.
I like the plenty hair because maybe so I saw my mom with that, and I love ladies with plenty hair. Okay. So if that becomes the factor of bonding, and then my wife decide one day to change her looks, and then raise down her hair, and dye the hair, and make it blonde, that can become a bone of contention. And that's the question she's asking.
Okay.
That some practical ways by which people come together. So something you see that attracts you, but you have little or no knowledge about what is attracting you. Then it drives you to get close to the person. And then later on, you realize that, oh, after what I was seeing, I was perceiving wrongly. And that begins to fade the love. And suddenly, it sets you apart.
Okay.
All right. So if you see something that you like, and that becomes the attractive force, it pulls you there. It means that you will have to help maintain that thing, because that is the seed that attracted you. The person is maintaining, but you should help maintain. So like my wife said, I would do anything for her to get the hair. And now she's braided it. All right. How do you call that one? Natural.
The one we used to stretch the hair, or what?
Like the rasta.
And kinky. Kinky.
All right. So I help her to wash it.
Okay.
And I love to touch it. All right. And I like it when there's a way she twists. She can do the Pompidou here, 3, 1, 2, 3.
We call that teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much. And Sometimes she leaves it all.
Oh, no.
All right. And I have to help her maintain it because I like that one.
Okay. Evangelist, you know, maintenance. Now we are being attracted by what we see. Maybe I met, or a man met a woman with a standing boobs, curvy, but for one child, two birth, it start becoming staggy. Do you think it's also a contributing factor to the ladies going in for liposections and the BBL just to maintain that beauty for the husband? Because we are scared he may go in for a younger version of us. Yes.
I see. It has been a challenge. It has been a challenge. All the issues that are being raised now, I'll pin them to one point: friendship.
Okay.
Friendship. If we have started as friends from the initial stage of the whole thing, I believe most of these problems and challenges would have been resolved. And then the question you just posted, you know, I have a funny way of saying some of these things because some couples came around, very young couples, and after some couple of years, they were having some challenges with the way the woman was keeping herself and the man was not happy with it. It was like, when I met you, your breast and your Arsenals and your Manchesters and everything were correct.
You
but
see,
now
the
it
stand
seems
chart
like
and the Barclays were standing.
now everything
fair.
is going down. So I push a funny question to the young guy. I say, listen, I see the breast of your wife to be like a pawpaw tree. And when you were very young and you saw how ripe they were, you were the one climbing the tree, plucking
them.
So, oh yeah, and then continue with the marriage. There was no arm robber in the system. You are the arm robber yourself. You rob your wife of all the beautiful things around it. So be okay with it. When I have this bottle of water, and I begin to sip. All of a sudden, I woke up one day, I was like, hey, the water is finished. Who are you going to blame?
Yourself.
Keep quiet about, don't even discuss this with anybody. When you were enjoying, you were not looking at some of this. So sometimes I keep telling people that, listen, these kind of packaging things and stuff and things, I don't know, some of them might have their implications health-wise in other ways and me. So why don't you go through the natural way? And one day, just psych yourself up. Listen, when I met her, the thing was standing. And my kids came, even before the kids came, you were the one who started
enjoying it.
You played the first league, your children came, they played the second league, and then you came back and did the third league about the whole thing. So when you started doing some of this, then you should know automatically this thing will go down.
We are the same people who tell Oche level 4.
So we are training them, we are teaching them to understand. You were the one that played with the thing. So when the thing is going down, help the lady to fix the thing so that the thing will maintain over there for you to enjoy the thing. That is my only problem with men. They to stop looking elsewhere and looking for deception around so many things. Go genuine love and sincere love. Be wise, brother man. In better in my experience with my boy, I work about maintain it and keep it. So I see my wife and the thing is dropping down. Sometimes you need to help her hold the bra and then fix it with her because I was part of the thing that enjoyed the thing to go down. So don't despise her at this point. What she needs right now from you is encouragement. And then you push her going. Then you bring some funny comments. I also keep telling men, especially within the marriage, if you don't know how to crack joke, you would die in the marriage before your time. You are too straightforward in the marriage. But sometimes be like a child. Play, have fun in the marriage. So we should make time. I mean, one day you get to the kitchen, your wife is cooking, and just this thing is not on paper. It is natural. Let them flow out of you and keep the marriage going. This is how the togetherness comes around. It's part of the game.
So you advise that the ladies should wear their hot pants and their tank tops when they are home alone with their husbands, maybe washing or cooking in the kitchen.
One problem with marriage, I say have fun with your marriage.
Okay.
And you can maintain it.
Okay.
There are people who are not Christians, they are not religious, they are natural people living as their life just the normal. But I'm telling you, their marriages have lasted not because of this kind of things that we are teaching, but they love to play a lot. They want to have fun a lot, just to make sure that I will maintain and I will keep what I hold from the very beginning to the very end. We are too straightforward in our marriages. We should be flexible. I mean, can't you play small?
Oh.
That not doing maybe. We should relax and let the marriage be enjoyable. And the women, I keep telling them, it is not every night that you are going to sleep and you put on your panties and your whatever it is. Sometimes go sleep naked.
You see?
Sleep naked. Mommy, you are married, feel free, and then let them, oh my God.
The pastor says, my God. Kenya what transparent 90 kokoni be a show. Ona, when you're going to bed and you know you are sleeping by the man you love, please go with your birthday dress. And I mean naked. Okay. So I'll be announcing the phone line soon. You can call me and then you can join the conversation too as well. The program is still Family Life. The number is 055 155 2211. 055 155 2211 and then 055 155 2244. Your views and your comments are still welcome and you can still join us. The program is still Family Life and I have Reverend Parker Baining and I have Evangelist Tego here. The topic is the value of togetherness in our marriages today. So please, I'll be expecting your messages, your questions, and all that. But we are still streaming live on Facebook, Adwa TV GH, and on YouTube, Adwa TV GH. My beautiful dress was made by Noppa Vibes Couture, and my makeup is also made by Noppa Vibes Couture. My next question, Reverend, is do you think the youth is not doing what is right when it comes to marriage? Because to enhance intimacy and emotional connections, if so, do you think we are not doing as we are supposed to do?
Yeah. Let me chip in this. You know, I saw my parents growing up together when we were there together with them. There were things I saw around their marriage. At that tender age, I wasn't pleased with some of the actions that were happening over there. So growing up, even before getting to the marriage stage, I made a conscious effort that, listen, the very thing I saw that I was not happy about their marriage, once I settle down, I am going to have a switch. I will change it. I will not apply this technique within my marriage because I want to enjoy, I want to be fulfilled, I want to be satisfied within my marriage. And so I made a conscious effort to do some of these things. And like you posted rightly, you know, our generation now, I keep saying that it is a dangerous generation. This is a generation, if you are not careful, you cannot survive the next 10 seconds in your life.
Why?
Because this generation are too fast, too quick. Everything about their life is fast. They don't go through process. They don't go through order. They have no rules. Everything goes for them. And so they are not making much effort to learn, much effort to study, much effort to talk to those who are matured and they have been within this marriage thing for years, just for them to get some rich experiences that will help and guide them. They wanted it by themselves and the way they want to handle it. And so you cross-check the days of old. Our grandfathers can stay with 3 women in the same house, same compound, and you will never hear a fight. In my generation, 1 man, 1 woman, every morning, at least, you will hear the next 10 minutes some blows flowing around. And so the mindset that we take into this marriage is not helping us. I believe, okay.
A viewer just sent a message and said, I want to know of the issues where one of the couple has traveled outside the country, very far away from the partner. Will there be a way of togetherness, or you still insist on communication?
Yeah, so far as your partner is not close near you, your number 1 power point is communication, either by any means of technology, where you have video calls, you see one another, maintain it. Even the words you speak, they are filled with life, love, and activation. And so the way you express your language, the kind of words you use will make the person feel like, I'm in the US, you are in Ghana, but each time we talk, it seems like we are close together. It seems like you are in my room. So you should know how to go about it.
That communication is not going to give you the satisfaction you want to.
I understand, but the chances are that there is nothing we can do about it. We can't transport sex online for you to enjoy it over there.
But you know, some people do have
it is not going to be forever.
Phone sex, video sex, and the rest.
Some of this is another topic for us to take in another dimension. Yeah, we should be very careful. But like I'm saying, you should be there for a moment. It's going to be for a while. It is not everlasting. So just control yourself, manage it at this particular time with the communication, with whatever things you can do just to keep the two of you going. And then
Evangelist, you said a while. Some have been there for like 4, 5, 7, 10 years.
It was
and only God knows what the men are doing out there. The woman is
their partners. No
Some
man
will tell you
travels.
I'm
No.
going for just 6 months before you realize, hey, yeah, you ma.
When I was at the university, one of my lecturers, the daughter, got married. As soon as they got married, I think the man traveled, was going there for some business stuff and things. And I learned they stayed there for 10 years and the man was not coming back. So one day, Osofo sat down and is like, I have imprisoned my daughter emotionally and sexually. They went and separate the marriage just for the woman to remarry and be okay.
And be
To me,
okay.
I agree with him. I agree with him. So there should be communication. You are going for 2 months. What happened for you to stay the next 1 month extra? Oh, because of this and that and that. But next month I will make sure I will return back quickly to you, because we are joking with the emotions of women, and some of the women are also joking with the emotions of men when it comes to sex. Do you know one secret about sex? That a married man, and I'm talking about married man, I am talking about a man and a woman from the very creation that God created them. I'm not talking about Mensa and John. I am talking about man plus woman. A woman can deny, oh yeah, the system is changing. So when we are talking, we are not speaking for all. We are cautious of what we say. A man got married, wanted to have an affair with a woman, and then, the man was on fire. And then the woman just turned the man off. The next day, the man left the house without chop money.
Oh.
You think he's the only person?
No.
When women can deny men of their sex and they wake up the next day, the bitterness, the pain in their heart, sometimes they get to work, they have no problem with you. You give them good, I say good morning. The
It's
fire
because
is
they didn't get the satisfaction they want.
So this thing is serious.
Okay.
And we should know how to handle some of these things just to make sure that we keep going. Even if a woman wants to deny a man sex, there should be a way to go about it. You are a woman. You have the skill, you have the knowledge, you have the intelligence about some of these things. So know how to handle the man, and the man will be like a baby on your laps. Without even the sex, he will be fine.
And so you also agree that when a man is with the woman that he truly loves, the boy in him shows?
Oh,
Are you in
yeah.
agreement in that?
Yeah. Women are very powerful. Women are very anointed. When Christ died on the day of his resurrection, he took women first to have an encounter with him.
Okay.
Yeah, women are very, very powerful. Don't joke with any woman in your life. They might sound stupid to you today, but tomorrow they will be the wisest on the top of the throne.
Reverend, please, do you have any submission to add to what Evangelist has said?
Yeah, sure. So the togetherness, there's one thing that we also need to understand, that when the people are apart, all right, there are things we do that shows how we are bonded. Okay. The only thing that would be missing would be the sex.
Yeah.
But communication, truthfulness, openness, and sharing of information. Very key. What happened, when it happened, how it happened, with whom it happened. And when this communication, when this information keeps flowing, it puts the mind at rest.
Yeah.
And it also heightens emotions. Okay? So then, even though we are apart, we still are yearning to see each other. Even though we are apart, we think alike. Why? Because there's a flow of information. All right? Whatever happens here, my husband is aware. Whatever happens there, my wife is aware. Wherever I'm going, what we're going to do next 2 weeks, my husband is aware. We plan together. All right? My husband knows that the kids' school fees are to be paid at a certain date. My salary is unable to pay the school fees. So my husband is sending money at this time. All right? So I'm at peace and we're talking. But whereby they are apart and there's communication, but no free flow of information, there's no togetherness. They are apart, but there's no planning. There's no togetherness. They are apart, but there's some misgivings about somebody's lifestyle, all right, and wrong perception. Then togetherness is crucified.
Okay. So Aaron Abrakwa wants to know, is it normal for an addiction of sex toys when it comes to togetherness? Is it normal for couples to use sex toys?
This sex toy thing, okay. First of all, as much as I'm against sex toys, there is some scientific proof that helps in togetherness. And let me come in this way. There are people or couple that for some reason have lost their sex drive. So they are together, they are married, but the man, by means of sickness, strong diabetes, or some other organ failure, is unable to erect. But the woman cannot go
Out.
All right? So, in helping the marriage not to disintegrate and still meeting the woman's need, technology has proven to help this bond. And I repeat, I am still against it, but the research is showing that it is also helping
Bond couple.
bond couples.
Okay. So it is right and it is wrong.
It is wrong in a sense that it's a form of cheating.
How?
Yes. Because the man is there.
But he can't erect.
So
you see?
there's an agreement.
So even if the man is the one holding it
So the
to
man,
use on you,
Yes.
is it also cheating?
it still boils out to psychological effect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because love making, in other words, sex, is not the act. Sex is in the mind. And Jesus talked about it. Jesus said, if a man looks at a woman
Lastfully.
and lusts in his...
Mind.
So, trust me, if a man is not attractive to you, he can say so many things and touch you. You will still not feel. When your mind accepts that, I like this man, before he even gets close to you, excuse me to say, you're wet.
You are wait. Yes.
All right. So sex is in the mind. So when the man, by virtue of illness, is unable to erect, and then will have to use the sex toy to help the woman out for the sake of togetherness and bonding, psychologically, it affects him.
Okay.
That is where I am against it.
Okay.
But to help the woman to also have fun, not to go outside the marriage, then technology and science is working here. But some people abuse it. And in abusing it, you'll get to a stage where you will not even like to have the organ itself.
So are you trying to say this because of your biblical background, as in like, because you're a man of God, you are frowning on the use of dildo? If
No, it's because of the abusing and then the addictiveness.
you are easily addicted to those things because of the vibration effect that it has.
Because, watch this, when the man is actively engaged in the woman, at most 7 to 10 minutes, he's done.
Yeah.
Machine doesn't
No
get
limit.
tight. So you can have multiple orgasms. And so then you want to use it. Because the man comes 10 minutes, wabre, and you want to go, and this can give you multiple orgasms. So then, sooner or later, you become addictive to it.
But some couples use it as a normal thing to drive their sexual desires for each other.
That is wrong.
Some are not diabetical.
You see, I may want to compromise just because the person has an issue, but to a large extent, it is not.
Some people even drive with it.
Oh yes. Look, it is a subject on its own,
Yeah.
and the research I got to understand and the readings I made around it, I had a little misgivings. And although the research and the scientific proof was given whatever, I still had a stand on it because this is changing the order of God's creation.
Yeah.
And for that, I stand and frown against it.
Evangelist, please, do you have any other
I agree
submission
with
to
him.
add?
I agree with him because there is a married man right now who traveled for a couple of years, I think 3-4 years. He discovered the woman was struggling when it comes to emotions and sex activities and stuff. So it was the man who bought the sex toys
And sent it to the
send them
wife.
to the wife. It's like, okay, you manage this until I come back. I think after 5 years, the man came back. And now it has become another burden because now the man want to approach and the woman is like, I'm used to this.
To this. So how will you make babies?
Sleep on your own and let me keep my man.
Wow.
And it has become a problem. We are taking them to the counseling. We are believing God.
And this will lead to the LGBTQ
Yeah.
plus
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, that question.
Yeah.
Okay. How are the couples able to? How can they maintain the balance between them? Like, as couples, how would they maintain the balance between them and the individual relationship?
What kind of balance?
Togetherness. How do they balance it? Just like we are saying, like, one of the partner is maybe outside the country, or
Okay.
I am in Accra, my husband is in the north. How do we balance it? Do you still stand on the matter of communication? One were the days that it used to be letter writing. Were you also, I'm taking you back to your days, so were you also feeling the emptiness? Although maybe you are all in Ghana here, but it takes 21 days before you receive one's letter. Were you also feeling that separation, or after reading the letter, the bond comes back and then the next moment you go apart? Did you felt it back then?
Well, will I say I felt it? Because in our days, I felt it was this boyfriend, girlfriend. It wasn't marriage, all right? And it was at school. So we saw each other at school. Then when it's vacation, you couldn't go to your girlfriend's house because the girlfriend's father is wild.
Street.
And your mom will not allow you to go because your mom is wild. All right. So then that void is there.
Okay.
Where you wish you had the person's company. Yeah. All right. So you resort to, in our days, we didn't have telephone. So our neighbor had telephone. And I remember one of the ladies, should I say my girlfriend, their father, her father had a telephone. So I would have to go to my neighbor's house to go and call. Sometimes when I call, when she picked the phone, she's like, hello. And when she says hello 2-3 times, it means the father is in.
Oh, so that was the code.
So then it means I shouldn't talk. And when they add the fourth one, it means I'll call you back.
Okay.
So then I'll hang up. And I'll sit down. The call is not coming. The father is still there. Then I have to leave because I'm in somebody's house. Sometimes you just go and they'll come and call you. By the time you go, you pick the call, it's gone. All right. So that voidness was there. But it didn't last because
School will resume and then you see each other again.
And then after school, you thought you liked her, but you saw somebody else. And I was like, oh, this person is better than that one fizzles out. Okay. And the one I felt most was when I traveled outside. And I think I spent 3 months. My wife was then pregnant with her second born. And knowing myself, when my wife is pregnant, I am the woman in the house.
Okay.
So I kept thinking, how is she going to cope? A, B, C, blah. So that's, and I was always on the phone.
Did they had any psychological effect on you?
It did.
It did.
Sometimes I'm going to preach and I'm like, has she eating?
How is she coping with the first one and
exactly.
this one?
All right. And I knew the parents are around, but I want my thing to be done the way I want it to be done.
You want it to be done.
All right. So then the missing is there. The void is there. She's not here. Okay. And much more after preaching. One of the most vulnerable states of pastors is after preaching. Serious. One day we'll talk about this.
Okay.
When you have gone to preach, done whatever, especially if it's more than one service, finished preaching, and there is no one there to fill the void, you are likely to fall victim to the so-called young ladies that would want to come, talk to you, serve you, blah, 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 blah. And most pastors that
falling victim
fell because after preaching, there was no one there to fill the vacuum. Because after preaching, you are empty. And your wife should be around for that bonding. And if you're the type that you always suck your wife away from you, then other people will feel that. And then sooner or later, it switches you off.
Okay. And please, Abuakwa Aaron says, do you think the family of both couple are a contributing factor to the togetherness? Maybe the woman will allow her parents or her siblings to be visiting, but she doesn't want any of the man's relatives to be in the house. Do you think it's also a contributing factor?
Yes and no. No, because sometimes the family unit rather becomes the factor of bonding. All right. And I've known couples and families that both parties help in bringing
Them
the couples
together.
No, also, no, also because, yes, also because sometimes the individuals, all right, in the families, like the in-law, the brother-in-law, sister-in-law, aunties and uncles, all right, may unduly become ticks. The gang will say mlai, or a tree will say sumro, all right. They become pesters. They want to come and take this. They want to come for this, come for this.
Especially if you marry someone who is a little bit well-to-do, they want to capitalize on it. So they will sometimes tell the wife, don't allow his family to get close.
Yeah.
All right. And then also, it is also based on the character of the couple. Some of them are stingy, others are selfish. Okay. So even though the parents are coming just to come and have fun or bonding, one is thinking that when he's coming to eat. When he's going, we have to give him money. Blah, 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 blah. And the question is, and so what? If the parents come and they are going, by all means, do your best. And I would always say that when the parents are coming in, even if we have to borrow, let's borrow and shepherd them. Then you shepherd. Let them go and let's cry at home.
At home.
All right.
Evangelist, please, do you have any other submission to this?
Yeah, but I think, wisdom also should play, just like he's saying. The issues are left and right. And so play a level of wisdom, and then there should be some sort of agreement between you and your partner. This is the situation. What do you think? Let him or her bring their views on board, and then you add up to what you have to add up before you even open the gate. Sometimes it might not even take family members. It might take ordinary friends who are very sincere and then generous people. They might be there, and then they will sort you out until you come around.
Okay. So is there any common challenges that a couple face in maintaining togetherness? Is there any challenges over time? Because as you said earlier, you fell in love with your wife, or he fell in love with the wife because of how huge and firm the backlist and the stand charts were. Is there any other challenges, or is there any common challenges that the couple faces in maintaining such togetherness?
I think there are so many challenges. Once we keep aging, once we start growing, things will never be the same. Our desires, our emotions, our feelings and everything might not be like when we used to be like the C. Ronaldos in their young age. And so you should understand, I'm now becoming like Luther Matthias, and all things are now coming down. That is where fair play, you see the old man sitting down quietly in a small corner and then controlling the entire house with the eyes and then controlling with all the things around. Those days, they will move around every corner and you know they are around. So once we begin to grow, automatically things will not be the same. And we should understand that we are growing, we are aging, and we can't express ourselves the way we used to. Number one, it happens with sex. Maybe you were having some nice moment during your youthful days when you were married.
Going for 2 rounds, 3 rounds.
Now you are aging, and wisdom simply should tell you, with health issues and then age-wise, you should control your heart not to die before your time. Because there are things within you that you need to empty it out to bless the generation before you're living. So automatically there are challenges at that point, and we should all agree to the fact that, listen, we are aging, we can't be like schoolboys and girls, and it's acceptable.
Okay. And in what way do lack of togetherness affect marriages? In what way, please?
In so many ways.
Okay.
One, Lack of togetherness.
In terms of individual, family, and that of children. That is how the question is. In what way?
Again.
So in what way do lack of togetherness affect the marriages, individual lifestyle, children, and family as a whole?
Okay. So lack of togetherness work on the children's education. It affects their education. It affects their self-esteem. It affects their advancements in life. Yeah. Individuals, it also makes you non-productive because you have no support. And the marriage itself possibly may end up in disintegration.
Falling apart.
Otherwise, it can even bring death, bring sickness, psychological breakdown. It can bring emotional distortion, so that the person would get to a stage where he or she doesn't feel loved by the partner and by outsiders. Because then psychologically, the mind is tuned to the fact that all persons are one.
Okay, and some family have stepmom, stepdad, step this, step that. Do you think it's also a contributing factor? Maybe I married a man with kids and I want him to treat my children as his own, but I am not ready to treat his as mine. Again, I don't even want them to mingle with my children because I think my kids are so, thank you, they are so unique. They are more human than them. You see some stepmothers using anything they have to hit their stepchild, irrespective of the age. And there are some stepmothers too who are so loving that you may not know that this child is not the biological daughter or the biological son of Mrs. So and so. Do you think it's also a contributing factor? Because it's a love me, love my dog affair. If you love mine, I will love yours. Do you think it's also a contributing factor that it doesn't bond most couple?
The thing is this: when such a scenario occurs, the stepmothers or the stepchildren, it is always a perceptional affair. They perceive wrongly, all right? And then also it is a lack of insight, okay? Then the third thing is that there is some selfish interest somewhere. When these things surface, it works against togetherness. Because when I'm coming in to marry, and I came in with my children, like Riley said, love me, love my dog. So I came with the children, and I'm expecting the man to love the children the way he or she loves me. It won't work. It works 1 in 100. And so, the interest of the man is with the woman, not the children. And those who have interest in the children come back to the same point. It's a decision they have to make.
So only on their own?
They have to plan together that, okay, these are your children. And if the children are above 8 years, you'll have to get extra energy to woo the children to your side.
To love you.
Okay. Because by 8 years, they know that you are not their biological father or mother.
Okay.
And their allegiance will not be for you. You will need extra energy, deliberate intention, with extra care to get them, to integrate them into your system. Otherwise, you will only be their what do you call it, payroll master.
Okay.
You help them, educate them, but they know that you're not their father.
Okay. Right, Evangelist, please, do you have any subject?
Yeah, I think on that same note, we are limited when it comes to issues of love as mortal men. I'm even couples sometimes love each other to a point. One day you get back to the house, you look at your wife, and you'll be asking questions in your mind.
Did I marry this?
Did I marry this thing? Where is she coming from? These things are not coming out. It's in your mind. And so the question is, when we trust in the grace of God, at the time we are weak to share the love that we have, God's grace come upon us and give us the power to love, even though we don't have that energy and that strength to distribute that. So once you cut God out of the equation, you die within that linkage. But once you allow God to be on board, I'm loving you for the past 20 years, not because I have the energy and the strength to do so. It is only the grace of God that has empowered me to do exactly what I'm doing to you right now. So they are also trying to connect themselves to the things of God. I'm here to love, I'm here to train, I'm here to encourage. But listen, without your supernatural grace upon my life, there is nothing that I can do much for these people. I'll be limited. So we are loving many people today because of the grace of God and nothing else.
Okay. Please, my next question is, can the respect of a man, let's say the couple works in the same institution, but the woman is the boss, he has to give her the respect before other colleagues as his boss. Do you think it bonds them, or it rather puts them afar, especially when the man have to show the woman the respect in the presence of other people? For example, couple who works in the force works, like the Ghana police, etc., and the woman happens to be a senior. Yes.
I think it's a individual affair, and how the person processes information and authority.
Okay.
So if the woman is in the military, is in the police, is in the fire service or wherever, and you know, for them it's command and obey, and so over time it becomes part and parcel of their life. So they rise to the ranks of authority and leadership, and psychologically it becomes part of them. They come back home, and that thing unknowingly begins to show forth. So whoever is at the other end or the receiving end, whether the male or the female, it depends on their character. It depends on what they choose for the marriage to be. And if you, that's why I said earlier on that togetherness is a deliberate thing. So then the man or the woman who is at the receiving end of this force will have to decide that, okay, this is my wife, this is my husband. And no matter what, I am in for bonding. I'm not in for the position. I'm not in to rub shoulders. I'm not in to show who is good and who is bad. The key thing here is that we need to bond together. And we need to come together. So what will I do to submit? What will I do? And don't get it wrong. Submission is not only for women. It's not only for women. And love is also not only for men. So there are compromises when it comes to submission for the men. Yes. And there are compromises when it comes to love for the women. So that we work for the togetherness. And so it depends on what the person who's at the receiving end of the forces decide to put up for the togetherness to work.
Evangelist, do you have
Yeah,
any
so
information?
rightly said, but it is too dangerous for a woman to carry power over a man. Most of them, when women have the authority over men, they just take it everywhere. In the kitchen, in the bedroom, in the dining room, wherever they found that the authority speaks. And you tell her, are you not talking to your CEO? Don't you know who I am? But I keep telling people, this is our home. Let's leave the work at the workplace. When we get there, rules and regulations works over there. We all understand. So let's go to the, but once we get to the house, the man is the head. That respect and that authority should be given to the man to control. I know couples that are staying together for close to 15 years now. The man lost his job for 15 years now, and the woman is the only person working right now. Anytime this woman gets back at the end of the month, what she takes out of her salary is a tithe to the church. Once the tithe is taken out, all the other money, he entrusts it into the man. He said, listen, Christ made you the head of this house. I can't rub shoulders with you. Despite the fact that you are here and I'm raising my shoulders somewhere else, in my house, you are the authority. So take this money and control the affairs of it. For 15 years, they are still together.
Wow.
The woman cooks, she washes.
She does her duty as the wife.
As a woman. And each time I meet with them, I wish one day we'll have a documentary for them to share their stories, and then we'll play.
So we have just 3 minutes more to wrap up the show. Please, can I have your final submission?
Yeah, togetherness is very important. Even in Bible, in the creation aspect of man, Bible says, God said, let us make man. There was some kind of togetherness. God was not going to do it alone. He brought other parties involved. So let us make man in our own image. He was having that communicate with angels over there, I believe. And the same way within our system that we are in right now, in terms of our marriages and everything, togetherness is very important. The missing link, the silence, I think is becoming too much in our marriages. We need to open up. We need to be free with each other. We need to be honest. We need to be the commitment, the love, the care, the attention. Above all these things should come to the table. There should be a proper discussion. Let's digest the issue. Let's look at the problem. Let's talk, whether in the house, whether at the office, in town. Let's communicate and make our marriages a better one, so that we can carry on and have a better future to enjoy.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Once again, we as Christians will look into the Bible, and also we can even look at what the world has said about togetherness. Togetherness in the Bible, even God himself said, because these people are one, there is nothing they cannot do. Togetherness help in building societies and building nations. Togetherness help in advancement in life. Togetherness help in raising families. If we are together, there are no differences. If we are together, there are no, those who are belittled.
belittled.
If we are together, we aim alike. If we are together, we perceive alike, we think alike. And if we are together, we are a force to reckon with, a formidable team that is difficult to beat. The moment we disintegrate, anything can destroy us.
Reverend, please, this message is from Aaron Abrakwa again. He says, God bless you all, especially Reverend. He says he was your mate at the theology.
Oh.
And he's really
Trinity.
Enjoying your submissions and your questions.
That's my police officer.
Oh, so he's a serviceman.
Exactly.
Sorry, we didn't mean to, but we were just trying to learn something. Yes, it's been a wonderful time with you. Your questions, your submissions, your contributions were all nice and welcome. The program is Family Life. It happens here on every Saturday, each and every Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. I would like to say a very big thank you to Evangelist Tego and Reverend Pakabenin for making a day with me. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. You are still my crush. And to you, my cherished viewers at home, thank you for making a date with me. I hope to see you next week. Please stay with Adwa TV and enjoy the rest of our program. My name is Naa Oforiwaa Pels. Thank you for watching. We'll see you.